everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Amanda Ostrander. I am a teacher-turned-homeschool mom, and this is Raising A to Z, a place where we talk about all things homeschooling, and today I'm wrapping up term 1. As we wrap up our first term of the year, as well as 2023, I thought it would be a great time to go back and kind of give you a wrap up of what my last couple of months have been like with my homeschooling. Because I think it's really nice to have like a realistic understanding of what can happen in a school year. You're sometimes going to have days that are super productive and super, fantastic, and months where everything is just clicking and is awesome. And then you're going to have months where it's not, and that's okay. So here's my very realistic term update for term 1 of the 2023-2024 academic school year. Let's start with September, because that's kind of how I break up my year. I go from September until December. Then I kind of go from like January until probably like April. And then I do like a really short May, June, and then we do July and August kind of as a different term. It kind of naturally just follows the seasons in our area in Ontario, but it also follows my husband's work schedule because he's a teacher. You can arrange your year however you want to arrange your year. This is just what works for us. Let's start with September. September, I'm not going to lie. For some reason, I found September personally as the mom very rough. I don't know if that's the right word. It wasn't difficult. I just felt like I couldn't jump into the groove of September like I normally do. I don't know why. I can't really place my finger on what it was about September this year that just didn't give me the same feeling I've had over the past, 5 years. I don't know if it was because I came in still early September. I was still getting curriculum. I was still trying to piece a few things together. We had done some traveling and stuff. I feel like I just maybe came in September a little underprepared. I think I thought I was a little bit better prepared than I was, or that I was, old hat, right? I think I came in thinking that I was just I've done this for 5 years. I can chill. I don't need to be as prepared as I normally am. I can wing it a little bit better. The answer is no. I think that stressed me out quite a bit. The other thing that happened kind of in September was I found oddly enough, a lot of things started right away. So normally in the past couple of years, I have noticed that September kind of has always been a bit of a slower start. So they have school kickoff, and then the next week we'd have one activity start. And then the week after that, we'd have that activity and then another. And then sometimes we wouldn't start choir until the third week of September or whatever, right? So I found our activities and stuff, we had all of September to kind of gradually get into things. That wasn't the case this year, which I don't know why, but it just really wasn't the case. Everything, we had back to school, and then we were the next week, immediately all of our activities started. Whether it was our co-ops, our gymnastics, our girl guides, everything just boom, 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 boom. And I think maybe I wasn't anticipating it being that abrupt of a start. And I think it just threw me off. Now, that's just me personally. My kids thought September was great. Not gonna lie. We got so much done academically in September, and I often find that September is a very good month for getting a lot of academics done, because everyone is gung-ho, and we're you have that energy of just starting off and doing new things and pulling out the new curriculum and the next level, and they're all excited, right? We did a lot. We got through a lot, and the girls loved it. They were so into learning about the Indigenous people, pre-Confederate, pre-contact. I was actually kind of surprised. I thought I picked it because I did want to get through a lot, and I know that September tends to be a month where we get through a lot of academics. I just wasn't anticipating them being so interested in it. I thought they'd be oh yeah, this is cool. And Zoe was surprisingly really, really into it. And not that she's not interested in things like that, but usually she's more into animals. That's her thing. And so this was just an interesting that she just wanted to know more and more and more. And so academically, we got through a lot in September. I just felt like I was on the back foot the whole month. It took me the whole month to kind of get myself as a mom feeling like I knew what I was doing and like comfortable with our new routine and all of that. So we had a good month, but like I said, I just felt like I was on the back foot. Then October came, and October was better. So October is always an interesting month because for us as Canadians, we have 2 holidays. So you have Thanksgiving early in the month, and then you have Halloween kind of at the end of the month. And so it's kind of an interesting kind of like trying to balance having 2 holidays in one month with like your academics. We also took a little like mini vacation. We went to visit, me and the girls went to visit my sister. And so we went to her place, and she lives on a corn farm. Corn and soybean is what they grow on her farm. And so we went and we like spent some time with them. We went to like a little Clovermead pumpkin bee farm, Western town. It was cute. It was cool. We had a lot of fun. But so kind of balancing those out between the travel and the 2 holidays, we had a little bit of less time for academics. That's okay. We still got through quite a bit. It wasn't how I expected it. So I did pick a bit of a shorter unit study because I knew October is hard that way. So we did do mushrooms because we've done plants a lot. I wanted to focus on something plant adjacent, something similar but different. So we did mushrooms. That was a great choice because it was a bit of a shorter unit. We got through pretty much everything in about 3 weeks. I was feeling much more confident. So like we were getting through a lot more. We grew mushrooms, which was super, super cool. We started growing them in October, but we just were able to harvest our first round of mushrooms and start a second round. So it's been really, really fun growing the mushrooms. I'm not gonna lie. The kids, they love it. We also, in October, we finished up a lot of the curriculum that we had from last year. So there's a couple things that we still had that the kids hadn't quite finished. So Alexi, I think, still had some spelling lists. Zoe had a little bit of math to do. We just had a few things that like we just weren't quite done yet. And so October, we finished all of that up and the kids moved on to all of new stuff basically, which is great. And so yeah, we did complete a lot of academics, just not necessarily in like the way that I think you would normally do it. So for example, Alexi had this grade 2 spelling book where she had a whole bunch of weeks that just for whatever reason we never got to. And she was just like, you know what, Mom? She's like, I can spell all these words. I said, okay, let's challenge it. And so we spent like, I want to say like probably 45 minutes one morning. And I just like went through the list and just drilled her on like, spell this, spell this, spell this. And we challenged, I think 10 weeks of curriculum and she was able to do it all. So I basically cut 10 weeks out of that book and there was 2 weeks. One was like a trick word week, which like, I hate when they do that. When it's like, these are all words that have like a silent letter. And I was like, well, that's not fair. So anyway, she didn't pass that week. But there was 1 week that was just a bit of a trickier week. And then there was 1 week where it was like silent letters. And so she, instead of having to do 3 months or 12 weeks of spelling, she only did 2 weeks in the month of October, but past 12 weeks. So we did a lot of like challenging the curriculum, seeing where we actually were and making decisions on like where the next step was and like moving on that way. So that was an interesting thing with October. And so yeah, we did the challenge in the curriculum. We studied our mushrooms. We also did the first couple of holidays in our holiday unit. So Zoe especially really wanted to learn about holidays that we celebrate. And so I have one and we only do it one, like on the day of a holiday. So we did Thanksgiving and we did do Halloween as well. And so we like watched a video, read some books on Thanksgiving and on Halloween, filled out some worksheets and like information graphics. And that was it. So we did that. And it was kind of interesting because it was the first time we had gotten into like the history of holidays and history of Halloween and where that comes from and why we do different things. And it's definitely gotten the kids asking more questions about different holidays. And so it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a really fun unit to do throughout the year. But yeah, so we kind of did like one unit plus a little bit of another unit. It was a lot. Like I said, because October is so busy with the 2 holidays, and for us here in Ontario, it's very much like harvest season. We had a lot of like activities to do with like our co-op and our friends and stuff like that. We did like a farm trip. We went to see some animals and we went on like a hay ride. We did our trunk or treat with our co-op, which is always so much fun. The kids dress up. We park in a parking lot and open our trunks, and the kids go like trick-or-treating from car to car. It's fantastic. And when you have like 50 kids show up to do this event and they're all homeschoolers, it's just fantastic. So we had a lot of it. It was a very busy month in that sense. So we did a unit, we started a second one. They challenged a whole bunch of curriculum. We had 2 holidays, a vacation, and a whole bunch of extracurricular things. And this is on top of like gymnastics and Girl Guides and choir, which I run. And what else is there? Co-op, we had a lot going on. And it was great. Oh, we also went on a huge hike with the art gallery and did like this day at hiking through the woods, and then they taught us like how to do some watercolors, and we painted a plein air, like out in the woods, painting the waterfalls. It was beautiful. It was great. October was wonderful, and like I said, I finally felt like I was on the right path. Things were going well. It was good. Now we get into November. November is often a little bit strange for us because, how do I explain this? It's starting to get cold, but there's no snow. So it's weird to like bundle up in your snowsuits because it's cold, but there's also no snow to play out in, you know what I mean? So like there's that. We had a weirdly mild November. So it was like hovering right around freezing, but then it would get really cold at night, and then it would snow, and then it would melt. Like it was just weather-wise, it's always tricky for us, like for November. And we basically, my kids have had a cold since Halloween. Like they have had this like barking cough since Halloween. I don't think they're infectious anymore. They're just still coughing. It's been weeks. And so we've had to take a couple of like really focus on taking some rest days and days where we can just like recuperate and heal. We've also had to I've had to like get kind of lay down the law on taking naps a couple of days. I put Zoe down for a nap a couple of days. Actually, I just put Alexi down for a nap yesterday, and she was not happy about that. I don't know if you've had to put an 8-year-old down for a nap, but it is what it is. So yeah, I put her down for a nap, and but she needed it. She slept for 2 hours. Actually, if you ask her, she did not sleep. She just laid quietly with her eyes closed and thought of her favorite TV show with her eyes closed in her brain for 2.5 hours. But she didn't sleep, even though I went in the room, opened the door, and checked on her multiple times. She wasn't sleeping. So, in November, we studied music as our unit study. That was really interesting. We didn't get through as much as I would have hoped, like I said, because we were so sick. And so some days it was just like, what do you pick? If the kids were just like too tired and they're like, hey, can we just do like 1 or 2 subjects? I'm going to pick math and language over a unit study. I don't know. It's just the way it is. And so we did get through quite a bit of curriculum. Zoe moved on to her grade 2 math, which is, she's again, I find kids love math when they're young because it's so concrete. And so she's been flying through math. And so she's now into a new math. Alexi has really been enjoying a lot of like writing and having fun writing her own stuff, which has been interesting this month. Totally unprompted. And so I've kind of like stepped back on some of the planned academics and gone more for like letting them see what they're going to come up with. And it's kind of been interesting in that sense. Like I've gotten full on stories and I've gotten poetry, and Zoe has recited poems, and like we've had a great month academically in that sense, but it has been a month of like great academic achievements that have not necessarily been planned by me. You know what I mean? So we did get through some music books. We did read some music. We learned a little bit about orchestras, instruments, how different instruments make their sounds. We learned about like music and like vibrations and how sound is vibrations. So we did get through it. We didn't get into as much theory as I kind of hoped to talk about with them, but that was okay because they've also started doing piano lessons with Dad, because my husband is a musician and music teacher. So he has started doing piano lessons with them. And it's been really kind of fun. We started kind of late October. And so on Monday, they go down and they do their music lessons. And then in the morning, after they do their schoolwork, I usually give them like a Post-it note that has like their independent stuff for the day. So on their Post-it note, it'll have like Alexi has to do her Duolingo. I've added like piano. And then it has like usually 3 chores they have to do before they can be done for the day. And so but on both of their lists, I've added piano as like one of their independent things to go and practice. And so it's been very interesting that I'll be like upstairs washing dishes or cleaning up and I'll hear like ding, 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 ding. And then when they finish, especially Zoe, when she finishes a piece, if she gets it well, you hear, yes! And you can just hear her through the whole house. She's so excited. So it was an interesting month that it was a lot of academics, but not necessarily stuff that I planned. And I'm okay with that. So now we're into December. December is always a month where we tend to not do as much academically, which is okay, totally fine, because it's just such a busy month with like all the festive holidays and stuff. I have a whole video on how we're handling homeschooling with holidays. If you want to check it out for all the details of what we do, it'll be there. We're still doing a little bit of academics. We're still going to try to do, because I do find my kids do better with a little bit of routine. And we are going to do a little bit of like the history of Christmas, because they're both, like I said, very interested in like, why do we do things? Like why do we have Christmas trees in our house? What is it, the history behind that? And this has all come out of like the other holidays that we've studied. Oh, in November, we did study some holidays too. We also did study Remembrance Day and Diwali. Remembrance Day was cool because I've never really like discussed why we have Remembrance Day with them. I haven't. Maybe it's my bad, but we were able to like really get into it this year and like the history of Remembrance Day and why we celebrate it. And I think I was able to take it a little bit farther and a little bit deeper than I think like what the schools would be able to do. Because I was able to like sit there and we could have longer discussions about it and like how that made us feel and why things happened and all of that. And so it was that was really cool. And then Diwali was the first holiday that we studied that is not a holiday that we celebrate because we're not Hindu. And so that was interesting because it was probably one of the first times my kids realized that there are holidays outside of the holidays that we celebrate and that people around the world have their own holidays and that they celebrate different things. And so both my girls were like, oh, so now they're starting to realize like there's different people and they have different celebrations. And so that's interesting. I think December, we're definitely going to be getting into that a little bit more. Because December, pretty much every major religion has a holiday, right? So we have Christmas and they've already asked me, where do Christmas trees come from? So we're definitely going to be studying like the history of Christmas trees. But then we also have, Hanukkah. We have Kwanzaa. There's another one too. I don't remember off the top of my head again, because they're not religions into holidays that we celebrate. But I do know there's 4 in December that we will study and learn about. And then we're just going to like enjoy Christmas as well and just enjoy all the fun things that we have to celebrate. So December will be fun. It'll be interesting. It'll be busy. And then probably around, like my husband works right up until, I want to say the 22nd is his last day of work. And so we'll kind of just like do our thing until then. And then he's off for 2 weeks. And so we're going to take 2 weeks off as well. Probably just hanging out, doing some reading, as well as like we often have a lot of family that comes up. So family time is always going to trump academics in my mind. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on family for the last 2 weeks of, well, I guess it's a week and a half of December and into the first week of January. But I'm excited. I always love talking about our terms because, like I said, I think sometimes people just like, oh, we did this and it was fantastic. And sometimes you have great terms and sometimes you have months where things, you just don't feel like it or you've been sick or whatever. And it's just important that people see like what the reality of homeschooling really looks like. And so that's it. That is what a real life homeschooling term looks like when it comes to real life, right? Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and click the bell. Consider becoming a YouTube member because then you get like bonus videos. Like every month I do an update and like a specific update about like what kind of unit study we did. I go through the resources we used and how I did it and what we organized and activities and all that. There's bonus videos. You get early releases on stuff. You can also make sure that you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You'll see what we're doing throughout the month of December because, like I said, it'll be very different because we're going to be doing all kinds of other things. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.